it's hard. It is very hard, especially because this is your business. Like you know it better than anyone, and letting those some things go and having your employees do those things, it's it's emotionally difficult. But that
Yeah.
has been the key part of me having work-life balance is I can't do everything. I need to delegate. Learning how to delegate
Mhm.
is probably the most important part of work-life balance.
Welcome to Mastering the Numbers, the podcast dedicated to providing insights into business and entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Joe Mallo. Welcome back to Mastering the Numbers. I am Joe Mallo with the Lead Edge Consulting Group. Today, my guest is Ami Rizek. She's the owner and founder of Doki Doki Anime and Kawaii Shop. Welcome. Thanks for joining my interview series.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to talk about my space and how I got there.
I've been looking forward to it all week, just to learn a little bit more. So can you tell us a little bit about Doki Doki Anime and Kawaii Shop?
Absolutely. So as you know, I'm the owner and founder. We're actually the only kawaii and anime focused retail shop in Northeast Ohio. But more than that, we're a community space built for fans who often feel overlooked or left out in traditional nerds culture and spaces. I grew up right here in Lakewood, Ohio. I Growing up, I spent hours at Madison Library, reading manga, browsing the internet, trying to find any Japanese pop culture information I could find back in the 90s.
Yeah,
And I noticed, as much as I love doing that, I was kind of doing it solo, because there really wasn't any spaces built for me. I didn't get to find other people like me. It was pretty inaccessible. Um,
11:09 a.m.
so I wanted to recreate that sense of joy and belonging for others. When I opened up Doki Doki, the goal wasn't just to sell like the manga, the anime merch, Japanese pop culture merch. It was to create like a welcoming hub for people like me who didn't have that, where we could connect and celebrate Japanese pop culture and feel at home and feel that sense of belonging that I really wanted when I was younger.
Yeah, I think that's a great inspiration to start something. So I'm glad that you did. So how many years has the shop been open?
So we've been open for almost 3 years. It'll be our 3 year anniversary December 1st, which is my favorite time to have an anniversary because it's the holiday season. So
Yeah.
it's always just like exciting and that spirit of like wanting to give back to the community, like everyone feels that. So it's like the best
Yeah.
time to have an anniversary.
Yeah. And you put it on the signs there. Everybody, traffic
Yep.
is probably heavier in the holidays as well. So over the last 3 years, how has the company evolved?
Um, Gosh, it's evolved in so many different ways. I would say first is so we opened up in a little 900 square feet space. Um, And boy, was that not enough. We also tried to host events, so it was wild. I still can't believe I did this, but we had a long table right dead center in the middle of the retail store, where people could come hang out and like where we'd host events. And people would be shopping around them. So we'd have like a craft club, or a manga book club, uh, in the middle of my store in this like long table that sat 12 because I really wanted to like connect with people. But then, my retail store was built around that. So it was just kind of a little awkward, but people made it work. But we determined like after, I want to say about the year mark that that was just not gonna continue. We needed more space, and we got very lucky that in my same building, another retail, or actually it was a another business had moved out, and there were two retail storefronts that were available that were side by side. So we just moved over a couple storefronts down and doubled our square footage. And now we have dedicated event rooms, and then our retail store is
Nice.
separate from that.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Sometimes you get lucky.
yeah,
Someone
it
else
was
opens
it was
up
a
and you
blessing.
just dive in there. Yeah.
Yep.
So, what have been some of the biggest challenges that you've had in starting and running the organization over the last few years?
So, you, you definitely have to consider who shops small, who wants to pick you over Amazon or Barnes and Noble. We sell books, we sell anime merch, but we are a curated store. So I something we I really honed in on is like I am. one of you guys. I'm a massive fan. This is what I love. Um, like this is different from the like the feel of shopping online and hoping you find what you're looking for. I brought it here because I know you. I am you. And I think that that sense of like I'm literally building friendships as my customers come in and they see that someone who is like them is actually curating the space and bringing in what they're looking for. That was such a key part of developing this business, and I think if you want to open a small retail store, it's that expertise and that face-to-face like customer interaction where you're not just, a robot selling something on the internet. You're actually one of them. Like you're talking to someone who loves the things you love, or you have that expertise where you can help them find those things. Um, there's nothing like that except from that small business space. So going
Yeah.
in with that mindset, um, I think it really changed the game for us because we weren't just like a retail store that just popped up out of nowhere and we didn't know what we were talking about. It was
Right.
like for the fans, by the fans kind of vibe. And I also recognized a need for this because literally it didn't exist in Cleveland. Um,
Yeah.
as a person who loves like the hobby myself of anime and Japanese pop culture, I would literally travel out of state to find the things I was looking for. I think so that I think a key part of like opening a retail space is like know your audience and know do they need you in this space? Where are you
Yeah.
located? And is it a small business friendly area? I'm very fortunate, that I grew up in Lakewood. I know the city, and is it's so community focused and so hyper local focused that people love shopping small. Um,
Yeah.
it's part of the culture ingrained in this city. So I think finding that kind of space where you're welcomed, people want you there, and they understand the value of small businesses is so critical.
Yeah. So you knew that the area needed something like this. I'm sure that maybe you had talked to other people, you'd done your research before opening it up. Is
Yep.
that correct?
Yes, absolutely.
And
It was the story, which is really funny, is we were going on a little road trip um, out of Ohio to Pittsburgh to the only like Hawaii store in probably the this, Midwest. We
yeah,
do this trip a few times a year, and as we're driving the 2 hour drive, I was like, man, I wish we had this at home. And my partner looks at me and he's like, yeah, you should open one. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you're right. Wait a second. Let me look into this. And he just and the conversation ended with him having such like belief in me and like that
11:16
really
a.m.
encouraged me to keep going.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let me do some research. Let me see like what, where this can be built. This is something I grew up with my whole life and I knew like there was a need for it, but I also really wanted to connect with other people like me. Um,
Yeah.
and boy, did that, the buzz was just blew up. It was fantastic. People were so excited.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's such a best practice that you just described there, doing the research, making sure it's something that people want. A lot of times people will open up a business to find out that nobody really wants that, but they
Yep.
didn't do the research. So
Yeah.
I think that's a best practice to share with everybody. Do your research, make sure people want it,
Yeah. And it's not
and
only just
and
like
then
the want and need, location matters tremendously.
mhm,
You really need to be accessible, um, be somewhere where people are going to be, if you're, for example, like me, kind of like a hobby shop, people tend to like want to go out shopping in general when they're coming to my store. They want to hit up a few other places. So I'm on like
right,
a small business strip with a bunch of other small businesses. I think that helps tremendously. So knowing your location is your audience going to go there is really
yeah,
important.
yeah, absolutely. So do you run the shop all on your own, or do you have a team that helps you?
So when I first opened, it was entirely on my own. And boy, did I think I could do that forever. And that is not realistic. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, so when I opened up my store after I got laid off from my job. I worked in the tech industry. As everyone knows, like those layoffs happened like right after 2020. And that was like truly the perfect time for me to like reflect on like what I wanted to do with my life.
yeah,
And I decided like I want to be a small business owner and open this retail space. And I was like, yeah, here we go. I'm gonna be working these 90 hours a week, working full time at my store and at home in all hours, and it was absolutely exhausting. It is not realistic. So making that call to finally hire someone and maybe hire more than another like just one more person,
Yeah.
I think is one of the like steps of growth that you take as a small
It
business owner,
is.
where you have to recognize like one, you have to let go of some things. Two, that you are a bottleneck. Being as busy as I am, because I was running the store and then I needed to go home, do ordering, respond to emails, all of that back end stuff. It took even longer. So I
Yeah.
was my own bottleneck. And recognizing that like a team will really help not only drive business growth, but be there to support you and
Yeah.
make it just literally everything easier. So that a lot of hard lessons of me learning, like, yes, I need help, and yes, I need to let go of some of the things I do because I don't need to wear all these hats. Like, I know this is my
Right.
baby, but someone else can also do this.
Yeah, for sure. But
Yeah.
we all need help at some point. You can only run so fast.
Yep.
So when you look back at the last 3 years of growing the business, is there anything, I guess, besides starting off in a larger space or maybe hiring someone sooner, is there anything else that you would have done differently in the growth of the store?
Um, so one of the things I've done is I've taken some business classes, like a couple years after um doing everything. And there were so many things I learned that I wish I would have learned in the beginning. Definitely when it comes to accounting, I was just winging it. And boy, is that critical not to wing. At learning how to use, accounting software, whether it's QuickBooks or Wave, starting that up in the beginning, um, I putting processes in place. You're going to be doing that and revising it throughout the time you're running your business, but understanding that you need those processes. You need to understand like what your day-to-day looks like, your day-to-day operations, but also like all that back end stuff. Having that kind of all laid out, um, I think is so important, especially because it gives you like a holistic view of every aspect of your business. So mapping that all out in the beginning, and then as you continue going, you kind of identify areas of gaps. But I was literally just like, I'm just gonna do whatever. Just keep, I literally had no plan. I think that was the key part
Yeah.
is it's like I know people draft a business plan, but there's so much more than a business plan. It's like, what does your day-to-day look like? What else are you doing? Identify all those pieces and parts that are moving and map that out. I did not have that a holistic view of my business when I first started. Um, and I think so many things could have gone smoother if I had understood like um, what my vision and goals were, what my day-to-day operations were, if I had actually written out processes, just all of those things. I think even like documentation is so critical. I'm writing documentation now, 3 years later, and realizing, man, I wish I would have wrote this when I first started.
Yeah.
Keeping everything in your head is terrible. Don't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you certainly learn a lot starting a business.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
but you don't necessarily learn it all the first year.
No.
It's a constant learning process.
Yeah.
So to go back to what you mentioned a little bit, working 90-hour or weeks and things like that, which hopefully you're not still doing that, but how do you work to find some balance in your life to be able to step away from work a little bit at least?
I think that's going to be a lifelong challenge for a lot of people, especially if you're
Hmm?
a super passionate person who loves what you do, which if you're opening a small business, most likely that is who you are. And you probably have a little bit of perfectionism in you. That is something you have to let go of. Like, getting things done is better than getting things done perfect much later. Like, it, something I've definitely learned is that like I have waited for things to happen because I needed to get it done perfectly. That if I had just done it to begin with, things my business would have moved forward and grown. My customers would have gotten what they wanted faster. Um, there's I think the pacing of my business was slowing down because of my perfectionism. Um, but there's just in terms of just like work-life balance. um, letting go of wearing all the hats, having full responsibility for everything. You need to build trust with your employees and believe they can do things. And it's hard. It is very hard, especially because this is your business. Like you know it better than anyone. And letting those some things go and having your employees do those things, it's it's emotionally difficult. But that
Yeah.
has been the key part of me having work-life balance is I can't do everything. I need to delegate. Learning how to delegate
Mhm.
is probably the most important part of work-life balance. Um, and now that I have three staff members and a defined um, criteria for all of them things I used to do that I just decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to teach you, I'm going to document this, and I'm going to train you, and I'm going to believe and trust in you because I need to I need to let this stuff go. Those control issues, we all are going to have them if you open a small business because it's your baby. Um, and
Yeah.
suddenly I had free time, and I was like, whoa, I this evening I can do my own personal goals and live my life because I'm not working all the time because my staff has it. And man, does that feel good. Knowing that
Yeah.
your staff has your back is a completely different experience. And that's what I wish for everyone who opens a small business is like, oh, you have a support team now. You can
Mhm.
just go home and
Right.
walk your dog, and like make dinner. It's fine. Your team has this.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy how critical it is to like rely on others.
Yeah. It can be amazing when you get to that part, when you do have a trusted group that's you can walk away and not
Yep.
have to worry as much. So
Yeah,
I,
and
I,
then
I
if things
agree.
go wrong, it's fine. Like we can fix and solve these things, and they're always learning opportunities. So if you frame it that way, that's never a bad thing.
Yeah.
And you continue to grow that way. So man, I'm way more relaxed than when I started my business, and it's wonderful.
Yeah. I bet. So what's your biggest motivator that keeps you this focused?
Um, as a person who engages in this hobby, seeing other people literally thank me, um, or my staff, or just their happiness and glow from walking into my store and seeing that this finally exists, and that they feel seen and they feel a sense of belonging. Like there's nothing like that. An irreplaceable gift that I feel like not only do I finally have achieved that dream that I lacked when I was younger. Um, but celebrating that I've made a hub for people. I've literally built a community. It's fantastic. That is what motivates me. Um, and then there's always struggles. As a small business, I am, I balance the desires to like want to do everything for my community with the feasibility of like right now we're struggling with tariffs, for example.
Yeah.
That is like probably our biggest challenge right now is we are a Japanese pop culture store, so we are an import store. These are things that can't be made here. We have to import them. And so the challenge now is like, well, I need to bring product in for my community, but it also has to be at the right price point.
Right.
I can't raise prices to a point where no one can afford it. But the
Right.
accessibility piece. So now our challenge is like, we have cut into our profit margin considerably because of tariffs. But I recognize like I will lose customers, and I can't support them if these price points aren't realistic.
Right.
So we are taking a massive hit in terms of profits to just like continue existing right now. And we, hoping that the tariffs will eventually go away because they are harming so
Yeah.
many small businesses.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully get that figured out, so that it's not hurting everybody as much. So what's where do you see your store in the next 12 to 36 months?
So our goals next are we want to have like a more we're hyper local right now, but we want to reach a wider audience. We haven't ever considered shipping until recently. Like we have so many out of state customers who come in because we've become such a like iconic store in Northeast Ohio. So when people come visit, they check out the local anime store and we are it. And they always ask us like, "Hey, how can I support you from afar?" Or people who want to buy gifts from out of state. Those are that's just like a new growth opportunity for us, and also a way to connect with more fans and people who don't have a store like ours on a national level. So we're finally considering building that infrastructure to ship nationally. So that's our next step. I'm hoping to implement before the holidays. Gosh, I can't believe that's so soon. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just there's so many ways to grow. And listening to your audience is that keep a component of like figuring out what that piece is.
Yeah, agreed. So last couple questions. If you think back over the last 3 years, growing the business, what's some of the best business advice anybody's ever given you?
Gosh, we talked about this already, but that delegation piece was an important learning lesson for me. The other like kind of best business advice I've ever gotten, honestly, was um, identifying like who your audience is and who your audience can be. Like missing there's always someone you're missing or you don't realize is an audience member, is someone that you could be targeting. Having conversations with your clientele, customers, getting to know them better, understanding that there's multiple personas within your customer base. That has been really key for me for understanding like how to communicate and target specific groups of people, especially when it comes to marketing. Realizing like, oh, there's actually, so many different types of people who shop here. And my messaging won't reach them all. So I need to diversify that messaging, um, and understand like that if I can touch multiple groups of people, as we call them, like personas, I will reach a far greater audience. I think that was a really important learning lesson for me.
Yeah. So final question for you. Let's say you're talking to someone at a networking event and they just started up a retail store. They're struggling, they're stressed, it's not going the way they thought it would go, over the first year or two. What kind of advice would you give them?
Oh gosh, this is something that, I actually encountered a few times. One is be part of a community of other retail businesses, make those connections, build those friendships. Something that I'm part of is actually a retail group. It's actually retails and restaurants, but it's called the Bunce to Birdtown Business Group, because we're along Bunce to Birdtown on Madison Avenue. And it's a group of 17 of us. And we meet every month to talk about goals or struggles, to get advice from each other. Having a network of people who, are other retail stores, might be totally different types of retail stores, but like, there are some core components that we're all going to experience. And there are people who have vastly different experiences than you, who've been doing this for far longer, who can tell you, like, hey, let me show you how to steer this ship in the right direction. Or I know this is you're feeling like a downswing right now, but that's actually pretty common at this point in retail. And here are things to help you get out of that. Finding just people who are in that the retail business or whatever type of business you are in, and building that network, and then continually meeting with them. If it's a Zoom call, if it's getting lunch, just sharing like the things that your success stories or things you're struggling with. Building that community is I can't recommend it enough. I actually don't think retail businesses could function without that piece. And then the second component is finding out who your like advocates are in the city. So there are your city council members. If you have a oh, I can't think of the word for it. Um, Chamber of Commerce who supports small businesses. There are always like organizations who actually can give you the tools, and often they're free, who can direct you in the right way to get whether it's you need better advice with cash flow or whatever it is. Like there are people who literally do this for a living and then want to support small businesses, and it's a free resource for you. So there's just so many resources for small businesses, but you need to connect within your city to find those.
Yeah. I think one of the worst things that I see is a business owner that just takes it all on themselves.
Yep.
They don't have that outside support team. They don't have peers that are doing similar things that they can bounce ideas off of. They don't have mentors, and they just get stuck. And a lot of businesses fail when you don't have that external support team.
I
Um,
think it's like an absolute must to have that. Even if it's
right.
just one mentor, that's all you
Mhm.
can find. Like that's better than nothing. But your city
Absolutely.
absolutely will have resources. Your chamber will have resources. They will connect you to the right people. There are so many networking events. We all want support because being a small business owner is so tough. But there are always answers to your questions somewhere. You just need to like actually connect with people.
Yep, you just have to find the answers. So, listen, Amy, I really appreciate you taking some time for my podcast. If anybody wants to get a hold of you or visit your store, how can they do that?
So like I said, we're located in Lakewood, Ohio, on Madison Avenue. You can also visit us on our website, which is Doki Doki Kawaii Shop, or find us on Instagram. And just send me a message on Instagram. You can email me, or you can pop in. We would love to see new faces.
Awesome. Well, listen, once again, thank you very much for participating, and for everybody out there that's listening. Thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to our conversation, and we'll catch up with you on the next episode of Mastering the Numbers. Amy, take care.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
You've just tuned into another episode of Mastering the Numbers. We hope you found valuable insight to boost your financial success. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite platform and leave us a review. Keep pushing forward, and thanks for listening.